सर जो साइट रेफरेंस का बता रहे थे साइटेशन का, वो काइंडली रिपीट कर दें।
Okay. Mean it depends. Can you see the PowerPoint presentation on the slide?
यस सर।
Okay. It depends, but what's the source you are using? Source can be a research article, can be a review article, it can be a case report. So the main ingredients that are required for citation, mean what's the purpose of citation? If I will ask you, tell me why we cite different sources. What's the purpose of citing those sources? Just feel comfortable and answer me. What's the purpose of citation? Why we cite? Any volunteer? You have only 1 minute to respond. That has nothing to do with the objective, so let me. What's the purpose of citation?
सर साइटेशन से हम लोग अपना जो हमारा आइडिया होता है उसको सपोर्ट या उसके लिए एविडेंस वगैरह देखते हैं।
What else? Is it the only objective? Although that citation can just increase the strength of your argument in a way that, okay, you will going to tell your reader that it's not only you who believes in this, rather there are other people who also feel the same. Other than this, but that relates to only specific thing that is in the section of discussion where you give logic and you back that logic with references. You acknowledge the contribution of a person in generating that knowledge. So first, this is the first thing. This is the most significant. Second very important purpose of citation is that you cannot use the knowledge generated by others in your draft without declaring the source. That's very important purpose of citation. That in that case, no one knows that who is the one who generated that knowledge, who has that information, who created that data, who assembled that data. So that's second very important purpose. Otherwise, if you will going to write something and you just used some sources and you never mentioned their name, in that case those people, they can report you that they used over information without citing us. You cannot claim someone else's information on your behalf. And if you do not write the citation, in that case, your reader will not going to know that what's the sources of that information. And if your entire draft will be without citation, what will be the consequences? That the reader will going to assume that this is all generated by you, and this is not reality, because you have used the source. Second very, very important thing. The third very, very important purpose is that a citation, that people, they can verify your findings. Verify the data from real sources. That increases the authenticity. That has everything to do with authenticity. So these are three major purpose according to my understanding about the citation. First, you acknowledge the contributor. Second, it's morally, ethically, it's not okay to use someone else's knowledge without declaring the source. And third is that anyone can verify what's you are claiming from going to the real source. So you direct the reader towards the real source, that okay, this is from where I have collected the information. So these are the purpose of citation. And in that, this, I was going to bold this, that it is your responsibility to give details to the reader, that if they want to verify verify what's there in your draft, they can go to the real source. So as you want your reader to go to the real source, that increases your authenticity. So how you will going to define, how you will going to direct that author to the real source? You can direct your reader to the real source. First, you have to mention the title. That's one thing. It's your responsibility to mention the authors. And then it must be linked with date. Date mean it most of the time we refer it as the year. And then where that stuff is published. So who are the publishers of that stuff? And if I was going to say, okay, it's published in Cambridge University Journal, it's published in some Oxford University Journal, they have so many publications that they have thousands of articles, and it will be very difficult to search any specific article. Although with internet we have that facility now, but you have to mention that when it was published. And that information will be provided from, one is from the year, and second is about the volume and issue number. And then it's your compulsion. It's compulsory for you to direct your reader to the real place where they will going to find that information, and then in that case you just need to include the page numbers as well. So your reader can very much efficiently search that source, because reading an entire volume of a journal will take lots of time. But when you have provided all these informations, it will be very, very easy for your reader to search that source. Although there are different formats, maybe the format of one university, citation format of one university vary from another university. Maybe the format of one publisher is different from format of another publisher. But what you will going to find that these informations, they are uniform. One is author, secondly title, third is year, the fourth is that it's all about the publisher, and then it's volume, issue number, and the page number. Maybe it's possible that a year is coming at the end. Maybe it's possible that they just mentioned the year right after the authors. Maybe they have used the last author as first and then first author as name. In this stage, maybe they have some comma, full stop variations. These small variations, they are possible everywhere with a change in format. But the content of information is always uniform. Author, title, year, publisher, and then volume, issue number, and page number. So for example, if I were going to mention any article, and that article is, let's suppose it's about epidemiology of scabies, and the title of that article is epidemiology of scabies. Where it got published? Parasite. These are publishers. Third, in which year it published? Let's suppose it's in 2010. These are just, I'm just giving you, I'm not using any real source. This is just to explain it. What's their volume? Let's suppose this their 12 volume. What's their issue number? Maybe it's 3 or 4. And then maybe pages 23 to 27. What are authors? Anything. Khan, and then it can be M, and then it can be S, and it can be so these are just this is author name, this is page numbers, this is issue number, this is volume, this is year, and this is title, and this is the publishers who published that one. And then you have to arrange it according to, in my university format, let's suppose if this is something real, in that case according to the my university format, we light it like this: Khan last name, and then M full stop, and then if you have only 2,000 authors, and then you just mention in between them and then S and Nazir, and then 2010 full stop, and then title of, after the names in my, according to my university format, the years come, and then once the year will be finished, then the title of the paper, comma, and then it's about publishers, parasites and vectors, comma, and then what's the volume? It's the 12 volume, and what's the serial number? It's 3. Then you have page number 23 to 27. Is it clear? Lady who
Yes,
asked this
sir.
question, is it absolutely clear? Do you have any confusion regarding this? Just feel free and ask if you have any confusion.
Sir, clear. Thank you.
Okay. So in our today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the objectives, variables, and hypotheses. But before starting anything, I will going to write down all those components of research proposal. First, abstract. Second, introduction. Third, you can add the review of literature. तो कीज नहीं है, किधर गई कीज? आंसर भाई के पास नहीं, आंसर भाई के पास, तो उनसे कहे ना दे। तो आप जस्ट फ्रीजर को थोड़ी देर खोल दे, तो इट विल बी -20, -31 पे है, तो इट विल कम डाउन। नॉर्मली जी -20 का ऐसे नीचे तो नहीं जाना चाहिए। इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल दैट यू कैन गो beyond -20. And then materials and methods, and then literature side. These are all components of your research proposal. And what I am just asking you again, that you know each and everything regarding the abstract, you know each and everything regarding the introduction, you know each and everything related to the review of literature. You understand absolutely mean what we need to include in materials and method and what is literature cited. So with this assumption, I'm just moving on to the objectives and then variables. So I believe every one of you is absolutely clear about this. If anyone has any questions, they can ask. So now we're going to go in all those details of all that stuff. At the end of the introduction, I told you that you have to mention your objectives. And normally normally in your thesis you have couple of objectives when it comes to the MPhil, and in PhD thesis normally you have 3-4 objectives. So just using an example, for example, if someone is interested to know association of if someone is working on epidemiology of malaria in a specific population, so the person is interested to know that, looking at this specific example, that whether there are certain factors that what are the major factors that contributes to the malarial disease in this region or in this district. That's the title. If someone is working on, it can be any disease, you can just mention it's all about epidemiology. So what's the main, if I was going to ask you that what the person wants to know, he wants to know what factors influences the disease malaria in this region. So and now you have to convert that concept into objectives. So what could be the objective in this case? Because there is your objectives must be measurable. And there is some way that you must be able to test them. So testable. So how you are going to convert that concept into something that is testable? Because without testing, there is no research. Any volunteer in this class, please tell me. It's an interactive course. I can just switch to a concept of environmental sciences. Heavy metals in drinking water sources of district Mirpur. That can be another objective. That can be another title. So how you are going to convert them into these concepts into the objectives? Because objective they must be testable in one way or another way. And there must be some criteria that whether you need to know that you achieved your objectives or you failed to achieve those. What factors influences the disease in a specific area? And in those factors, I can just relate it with the, okay, these can be environmental factors. And then there may be something social factors. Maybe it has something to do with specific age, gender, and even locality. So these are all, I just broadly saying that, okay, it's either it can be environmental factor or social factors. And you want to know that how the factors they influence this, and how you can convert that specific concept into your idea. Like, concept that specific idea into objectives that is measurable. Just feel free. Because what's the purpose of conducting that research is that you want to know that what factors that they influence that disease, a specific disease in an area. So maybe you are carrying out, another title could be risk factor assessment. In that case, the person wants to know that what factor increases the risk of disease in that area. That's the concept. The person wants to. So if you have a concept like this, risk, you want to assess risk factor. You are want to carry out a research on epidemiology. In that case, you have to mention the objectives. So, and objectives that they must be one-to-one. Either it can be one objective, couple of objectives, they can be 3 objectives, it can be 4. Normally they are between 4 to 6. If in PhD, and in case of MPhil, normally you have only couple of objectives. In research article, it's possible that they may have only one objective. They may have more than one objective. So if you are carrying out, so when you will write down the objective, for example, if you are carrying out a research and you want to see the effect, whether when it comes to the environmental factor, one very important factor is the season. So you have to mention that I am interested to know about the association of the season with disease. That's one objective. Maybe you can write another objective, association of disease with economic condition. You can have another objective if you feel that it's an association of disease with different age groups. And that also applies to the gender as well. So now you have all these objectives, and from those objectives you have to generate those variables. Variable, it's a compulsion that a variable must need to change. If something is constant, you are not supposed to deal with it, because it's a compulsion that you just need to have the variable in your research. Anything variable is anything that changes. I can give you example of a constant and variable that if I will going to look at your class, number of years of education is a constant in your class. It do not change. It's uniform for everyone. Here with this title, District Mirpur, everyone belongs to the District Mirpur. That is uniform. That is constant. But in your class, you have one variable that is gender, another variable as age group, maybe another variable that all of you, they have different academic achievements. Maybe you all vary with height. So height is another variable. Weight is another variable. But when it comes to your department, you are all enrolled in Department of Zoology, that is uniform, constant. And in research, we normally do not deal with those constants. And we do not generate any objective that is constant. So if you look at this first objective, association of the disease with age group. So here you need to have two variables. One is the disease status. How it is variable? When, because in order to test, it must be testable as well as it's compulsory that it must be a variable. Disease status, you need to have positive and negative. What's the purpose of writing this and insisting again and again is that when it comes to the disease status, if you just take only positive cases, you fail to see the association, because the disease, if you take only the positive cases, in that case, the disease status will be constant in your data. They all will be positive. And if it is constant, in that case, it's no use for you. So as you are looking for association of disease with different age groups, your one variable is disease and your another variable is age group. So both of these variables, they must be variables. So how disease can vary, that's clear that you may have positive cases or negative cases. And another variable is age group. Let's suppose I'm just writing down only two, it's children and adults. But still it's a variable. So some of them they will be children and some of them they will be adults. So once you have an objective like this, and objective includes all those variables, and those variables, they are testable. In that case, from here, from your objective, it's your responsibility to generate the hypothesis, which you will going to test. So when you have an objective of, when you have a research that has a title risk factor assessment of malaria in district Mirpur, and you have one objective as association of disease with different age groups, in that case, now you have an objective, and from that objective you have to generate the hypothesis. We have hypothesis in pair one, we name it as the null hypothesis, and other one is alternate hypothesis. So as I have lots of students that already qualified a course of biostatistics during your master, so can you tell me what will be your null hypothesis? Can you hear my voice? Any volunteer, just feel free. Sir. Okay, what will be the null hypothesis in this case? Because your objectives must be relevant to your title. So I wrote a title at the top, and then I mentioned an objective. And I told you that from your, because objectives, they come at the end of your introduction. that you build your argument in your introduction, that why I am conducting that research, why it's important to carry out that research, where we have the gap in existing knowledge, and as we have the gap in existing knowledge, we need to explore this, and I will going to explore that with the following objectives, because the last section of your introduction always includes the objectives, and they are mentioned in number 1, 2, 3. These are my 1 objective, 2 objectives, maybe I have 3 objectives. 2 objectives does not make any difference. So once you have the objective, those objectives, they must be required to be testable. And how you test them? You test them doing the statistics. And when you test them doing the statistics, most of the time you need to generate the hypothesis from your objective. So what will be your null hypothesis? काई साहब
सर नहीं समझ आ रही थी।
hypothesis क्या होगी? Just feel free. If you want to test the association, what will be your hypothesis? Is it visible on your screen?
Yes sir, ये तो visible है।
Association of the disease, I told you, when it comes to the null hypothesis, null means 0, 0 mean equal, equal mean no cause, no effect, no cause, no effect mean no association. These are all terms I have discussed in my course of biostatistics. And do you remember from that, something from that? Anyone else, any volunteer? Two, 5, 1, 7, 17, 6, 4, 14, 3. These are all people, they are visible on my screen. So please. So as I do not have a lot of time, I am just writing. Normally in your null hypothesis, it shows no association. So you will going to claim that disease has no association, or malaria has no association with age groups. Malaria is not associated with age groups. And what will be the alternate hypothesis? It's exactly opposite of that. Now, Kaisab, it's your turn.
Disease has some association with age group.
Malaria is associated with age groups.
Yes, sir, malaria.
So from your title, you generated an objective, and from your objective, you generated a hypothesis, and now it's testable. So here you have two variables. One is the malarial disease, and other one is age groups. So now, once you have schematically develop all these three stuff, now you know what you need, what kind of data you need in order to achieve those objectives. Here you need a data of positive and negative cases of malaria, And here you need a data from different age groups. If you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, please mute your mic. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So malarial disease and age groups. So when it comes to the variable, normally you have dependent variable and independent variable. Can anyone tell me what is your dependent variable in this case?
Malaria, sir.
Yes, malaria is a dependent variable. Why malaria is dependent variable?
Because malaria depends
association
upon a condition.
So just on the basis of a condition you just mentioned, declare it as dependent variable. Normally, a dependent variable is not in your control, while independent variable is in your control. Technically, we use the term dependent and independent. First concept you need to know that a variable, whether a variable is independent or dependent, you need to have both variables in order to have a clear understanding. I will going to give you some examples from this. For example, your scores in the course of research methodology. So it's as the scores they vary, so it's a variable. And then I will going to write down another variable, your working hours. How much time you spend just reading or going through with a course of research methodology. So there are two things. One are your working hours and other one is scores. So this is a variable. Maybe some people they will going to spend couple of hours there, maybe some will spend more time, some will going to spend less time. So as it is changing with people, so it's a variable. Once again, when it comes to the score, it's a variable. It's a variable because someone will going to get high score, some will going to get score average score, and some will going to get some low scores. Where you have absolute control, I just want to ask you, where you have a control on this, that becomes a simple example, and then I will going to move to other. You have control on your working hours. You can choose, you can decide that whether you're going to spend 1 hour, you can spend 2, you want to spend 2 hours, you can spend 3 hours, you can spend 10 hours. So it's all up to you. So you have control on your working hours. And what about the scores? Any volunteer?
सर कंट्रोल में ना
Do you
डिपेंडेंट
think
वेरिएबल
score,
होगी.
do you think you have absolute control on your score? You can decide what score you will have at once you are going to attempt the exam.
No, sir, not in control. So
Yes.
it is dependent variable.
Accept my apologies, lady. There is a huge distortion in your voice. I failed to hear anything. I was able to listen that you want to say something, but there was huge distortion. I failed to listen anything. So please kindly repeat.
The scores are not in our control, so that this is the dependent variable.
Can anyone else is able to listen her clearly?
No, sir.
There is lots and lots of distortion. Is it true? Fail to understand what she wants to say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, lady, I will going to give you a chance in my next lecture because at present I think your internet is not working properly. That's why we all are unable to hear you. So we'll have to exclude you right now. Anyone else? Scores. Despite of how many normally it stays in a relationship, positive relationship, that normally when you are going to spend more working hours, normally you will going to get high scores, but scores are not in your control. It's a random variable. You cannot decide what scores you will have in the course, but you can absolutely decide the working hours. So where you have absolute control is your independent variable, and where you do not have the control, or researcher do not have a control, is a dependent variable. That's a very clear concept of dependent and independent variable. Another example, yield and fertilizer. You can decide how much fertilizer you want to use. 1 kg, 10 kg, 50 kg does not make any difference. But when it comes to the yield, even applying any fertilizer, you do not have absolute control that what yield you will going to have. So you have to wait for the result. So once again, where you do not have the control, it's a random variable. So the yield is dependent variable here, and fertilizer, where you have absolute control, is your independent variable. So when it comes to the malaria, I can select the age groups that I will going to include the young children as well as the adults. But I do not have any control on malarial disease, that whether they will be positive or negative. So in this case, malarial disease is a dependent variable and age group is independent variable. I can fix the age groups. What do I mean by this? That I can choose that I will have 50 children in my study and 50 adults in my study. But those 50 children are adults. Either they will be positive or negative. I do not have that control on this. So one is the dependent variable and other one is independent variable. So here, as you want to see the association of malarial disease with age group, so you generated a hypothesis that malaria is not associated with, null hypothesis that malaria is not associated with age groups, and you have an alternate hypothesis that malaria is associated with the age group. So in order to achieve that objective, you need only a data like this, that you need to ask only a couple of information from your clients in order to achieve this information. That here you will have the malarial cases, in your study you have children age groups. In that age groups, you will have children and adults. So you need to have the data of children and adults, and then you need to have a data of their malarial status. And they can be positive or negative. So once you have data like this, so at the end of the day, you can have a situation like this that, okay, you can generate 2 by 2 tables where you will have the data. Here you can mention the malaria. They can be positive and they can be negative. And here you have age groups. So there that will be children and they will be adults. And you have some values here. Let's suppose 15. And then 20. I'm just randomly using these values. Let's suppose 115. And then 375. These are all general random values. So once I have, at the end of my research, I have a data like this, I can just apply a chi-square. I'm not teaching you statistics, so that's why I'm just conclude my discussion saying this, that you can just apply the chi-square, and after that chi-square it will going to tell you can test the null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis that whether in your population malaria is associated with the disease or not. So once you have carefully inline your objective with your title, and your objectives, they are testable, and from your objective you are able to generate the hypothesis, null and alternate hypothesis. You are able to identify the variables, both the dependent and independent variable, and you know what's the appropriate way to analyze that data. Let's suppose, for example, when we have both nominal variables and we want to look for the association, we apply the chi-square, and from that chi-square you can just decide whether there is an association or not. So in this case you can achieve your objectives, and you have whatever you have done is absolutely true. Is it clear? Just feel free and ask. Do you have any question? Is it clear? Ladies and gentlemen, is it clear?
Clear.
Okay. So I wish you very good luck for your exam. I will going to upload your paper maybe after 5 minutes. And you have maybe 8 or 9 hours to attempt that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You are welcome. So now I am going to end the meeting.